Okay, I thought I'd do a relatively comprehensive look at audio isolation and noise reduction, as well as some post-processing techniques that you can do. Some are very old and basic, some are a bit new, using some interesting tools. So I'll show you what I've been experimenting with, and then perhaps you can do the same. But feel free to adapt as well. There's lots of different ways to approach this. My kind of approach is kind of using some old techniques that I've learned over the years, dealing with audio specifically and some music production stuff. And then just some new tools that are available. There's a lot of AI noise reduction stuff that can have a great effect depending on what you want to do. So let's just jump into it and we'll show you what's going on. So let me don the headphones of ultimate listening, and then let's see what we're dealing with here. So here is our audio. We've got this audio that was shot along with the footage. So it comes in quite low actually. So the first thing to do is just boost that. And you can kind of see already there's some background noise that will be across the whole footage. So let's just play that and see what we got. Rolling. So yeah, obviously we've got some audio before it.
In Omnichannel Essentials for Pharma and Healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel is and how.
So yeah, you can kind of hear that there's some audio in the background there, also between the words and things like that. So there's a number of things we can do here. So what we'll do is we'll go into Fairlight inside of Resolve, and this is a bit like kind of Audition, I guess, in with Premiere. So I'm going to drag it onto new channel because I've already done some of this stuff on the other one. So we're starting clean, like this is just the audio.
In Omnichannel
and now there's some basic stuff we can do before we even get to like AI stuff. We can employ some very basic techniques that have been around for decades. And there's two in particular. There's an expander and there's a gate, and they're kind of mutually exclusive, and you'd use them in different scenarios. So what a gate is doing is saying, don't put any audio through that's below a certain level. So you can kind of see what it's doing here. It's like reducing the audio there. And actually, if I play it, you'll hear what's going on. So hear nothing.
In Omnichannel Essentials for Pharma and Healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what...
And then we can adjust that threshold here, as well as the range of how much is getting cut off and how fast it does that. So for instance, for this, we might want like a slightly longer release. So that's a bit like how you would kind of, if you were doing this like manually with a volume control, you'd be doing that, and it's how fast you were doing that to how fast you turned it back up, how fast you're turning it down to back up. So
in Omnichannel Essentials for Pharma and Healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel is.
That gets you a certain way. There's still going to be noise under what he's saying because it's still there. We haven't got rid of that. Like we've just got rid of the noise when he's not talking. An expander's really similar. But it doesn't cut it off, it just reduces it. So it's literally taking like the low level stuff and the high level stuff, say they're sort of like this, it's pulling them apart. So your louder stuff is louder, your quieter stuff is quieter, and you'd probably use that more in like a live situation where you want a bit more dynamics. You don't want things to just cut out. You want a bit of that background noise, you want a bit of that room tone and stuff. So, but for this, we want a gate really, because we're going to do some processing on it anyway.
Have a thorough understanding of what...
So that's the basics of it. And then I'll add this now just to show what's going on. But a compressor, this is the other reason we're not using expander, because we're going to use the compressor, which is like the opposite of an expander. It's squashing the audio back down. So it's saying when something's really loud, bring it down a bit. And when it's like quieter, bring it up again. And the reason we do this is to kind of give an even volume level across the whole thing that we're doing. So you'll see what it sounds like. It sounds very radio. When you have it like kind of threshold low and ratio high, it will sound very like Radio 1 kind of thing.
In Omnichannel Essentials for Pharma and Healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough...
Doesn't sound great for this. So what I'll generally do is put the threshold up.
Understanding of what omnichannel is.
You can kind of see where it's like peaking. Ratio is probably around
and
here.
How to get started.
But you can see what it's done. It's also brought the noise up, like... So you can hear the background noise a lot more, which is why we have the gate there for when he's not talking, because otherwise the compressor would just bring that way up.
In Omnichannel Essentials for Pharma and Healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding.
And here, what I'll do is, again, I'll add the release, because this is kind of probably cued more for like music. So we want it to be a bit more gentle for like voiceover and stuff. You'll see it's
less basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel.
So you can see it's kind of riding the volume there. It's like keeping him in check basically. And then a limiter is like a compressor, but it's just really harsh. It'll just keep it like it just won't go above a certain level. It'll just clip it off, which is useful for kind of going to max. So in fact, actually, we just set it to the max. Like it'll just never go above that, and it'll never distort. Which is useful.
To get started,
so
we cover the basics so that you have
cover the basics. There we go. There's some EQ and stuff. We'll cover that in a minute because a lot of the effects that we add will kind of affect the dynamics of it anyway. Like it will affect the frequency ranges. So that's just the dynamics, and then we'll do the EQ at the end. So here we go.
In omnichannel essentials.
Let's do that now. There's different plugins, different things you can use. Resolve just has this like voice isolation tool, which is incredibly powerful. And to be honest, there's lots of other tools out there that you can add, like plugins and stuff. But I've kind of found this one to be more or less the best. So yeah, there's similar ones for like Premiere and Audition and stuff, but it's nice. It's built in. You literally just click it on and it's done.
Omnichannel essentials for pharma and healthcare. We cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel is and how to get started.
So yeah, voice isolation, it works.
And healthcare, really well, we cover.
But there's other options out there, and there are some that are either built in or you can use as separate plugins. So let's have a look, see what we got. There's de-esser is a useful one to have. Where would that be? It'll be in like Fairlight Effects, de-esser. Here we go. Yeah. So this is for like that sort of sounds that don't sound great on certain microphones. It's basically an EQ. It's like a smart EQ, and we can hear like what it's like bringing down here if we flip
and
it.
Healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel is.
Find like a point at which it's particularly bad.
And how to get started.
If we boost it, you'll hear it more.
Pharma and healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough
understanding. Up there with his voice, and then we invert it to bring that down. Hopefully it sounds
better. And healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what
it's hitting those syllables there. Turn it off, you'll hear it.
So that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel is
you can kind of hear it.
And how to get started.
Yeah, it'll muddy the sound a little bit just from just how it works essentially. So you don't want to use tons of it, but it does help. So that's kind of the basics of it. That'll get you like really far, and then this is where your EQ comes in. And generally what I'll do with EQ is I'll just cut the bass, because like you won't really hear it on most headphones, but there's a lot of data in the bass that can affect the dynamics and affect kind of the way that it sounds and the way that the audio travels, more with speakers than on headphones, but it does have quite a big effect. So we cut that out because there's no real register down in that level anyway. That's like sub bass stuff, so you can just get rid of it and then you don't have to worry about
it. And healthcare,
then you can kind of get back some of that DS stuff. We're bringing like all of the frequencies back for that.
Omnichannel essentials for pharma and healthcare. We cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding.
And then there's always like some weird mids going on somewhere. So the way that I generally do that is to like pinch it in with this like Q factor and boost it up, and then like hear where it sounds bad, and then bring that down. So you'll kind of see me doing it.
Of what omnichannel.
Let's bring this back to the beginning.
In omnichannel essentials for pharma and healthcare, we cover the basics.
That's bad. So what we'll do is bring that down. You'll see it. I'll play it and bring it down.
Basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel is and how
to get taking out some of that mud. Like there's sort of a muddy bit around that 500 hertz band. It'll be different for different people and for music and different stuff. Like that's totally like changeable, and you can kind of mess around with it.
Essentials for pharma and healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough.
Yeah, that's where I'd bring it, and then we'll do like an A/B.
Channel essentials for pharma and healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a
cleaner. And again, I'm using these headphones. It's going to sound different on different headphones, but like if you're doing it on like a decent set of monitors or good headphones, like that's the best you can do, really. It's worth testing on other ones as well, just so it doesn't come through weird on like Apple like laptop speakers or something. And then there's a couple of other bits we can do. So there's some de-reverb stuff. I don't think the one in Resolve is particularly good, but this is where I'm going to jump over to like third-party plugins. And I use this one called Waves. Well, there's a bunch of stuff from Waves Audio, and I use it much more for music production. Yeah, here we go. So load it up and you'll see what's going on. Right, let's get rid of this one, get rid of this one. Yeah, Waves do like much more music focused stuff. They do synths, they do like effects, all kinds of stuff. But there's a couple of bits in their whole package of stuff that is more focused around like restoration. And I'll show you what's going on with a couple of those. So for instance, there is noise reduction, clarity effects, VFX Pro, X noise. Yeah, in fact, that's an older one. Let's not use X noise. I'll get rid of it. I think I just, yeah, okay, fine. Clarity VFX Pro, and then the de-reverb one is actually pretty impressive as well. De-reverb Pro, here we go. Here we go. So I'm actually going to turn off the voice isolation so you can hear what's going on.
Omni-channel essentials for pharma and healthcare.
And then we turn up this.
We cover the basics so that you have a essentials for pharma and health.
And actually, if we grab a preset, reduce ambience. Is this the one I'm looking for? Actually, it might be a different effect.
For pharma and healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel is. How to get started. Channel essentials for pharma and healthcare. We cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel is
you see what it's
and
doing.
how
It's
to get
basically kind of like a
started.
one-knob
In
effect,
omnichannel essentials for
but there is
pharma
other
and
options in
healthcare,
here,
we cover the basics so that you
like
have
AI
a
stuff that you
thorough
can use.
understanding of what omnichannel
What I find
is.
particularly
And
impressive
for
though is this,
pharma
like,
and
de-reverb
healthcare,
one.
we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding
just
of
like
what
mad to me. That
omnichannel
one's, like,
is.
particularly
Essentials for pharma and healthcare, we cover the basics so that
just, to
you
me,
have
that
a
just sounds
thorough
like we're
understanding
in a
of what
studio,
in
like in a vocal
omnichannel
booth.
essentials for pharma and healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel is.
So yeah, that's my thing. What I'll probably do here is I just turn off that one. I think the one in Resolve is better, and then use like the de-reverb on it.
Channel essentials for pharma and healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel is
Between, like,
and
dialogue
how
like,
to get
music,
started.
singing, stuff like that. So yeah,
We cover the basics.
that's my approach to dialogue isolation, and I kind of save this as a preset, this whole rack or this whole channel, and I can just copy across to other things. There's like another bit to it which I won't show you now, but you can send out the data from your vocal track or whatever track you want to use as what's called a side chain on another track, which if you're kind of into music production, that's quite a common technique for like ducking like I don't know, bass when you've got a drum coming in so it doesn't all like take over each other in the mix. That's really cool with like a really slow like release and a bit of a slow attack when you use it with music in an edit. Used in radio all the time. It's like when you're talking, it'll just duck the music down. And you can use it in this. It's like instead of like mapping in where you want things to turn down, it's like a super useful way of bringing things up and down. And in fact, I can just show you now how to do that. So let me just grab some music. Yeah, here's an audio track. So yeah, see that's soloed, isn't it? Here we go.
In omnichannel essentials for pharma and healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what omnichannel is and how to get started.
But we don't want to do it manually, so we're going to send that, and what's that's doing, it's sending to like a return channel somewhere. You can set it up manually if you want, but you don't really need to. And then in our audio channel, turn on the compressor, set it to listen, and then what we'll see is the same like reduction thing here that we were seeing on the other channel, but it will be on this channel. So that's not the music. So actually, if I just turn this off, you'll see like the music coming through on it. If I play it, that's the music. That's it. Turn on missing nothing. VO, but let's go back to the VO.
In Omnichannel Essentials for Pharma and Healthcare, we cover the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what Omnichannel is and how to get started.
And that's what that release is doing, is how long it takes to come back in once it's like finished. The hold is like it'll stay at that volume for a bit, so milliseconds, half a second, and then it's taken 1.5 seconds to get back up to full volume. So
the basics so that you have a thorough understanding of what Omnichannel is and how to get started.
And then say we had like some more, it would just duck. Every time you had some voiceover, it would like come back in, you'd hear it, and then you'd hear the music again. It's much more dynamic. It's much more a kind of cleaner effect than trying to do it manually, because it'll do it to the point, and then you can kind of adjust the overall volume with your makeup, and then you've also got the channel volume as well. So yeah, just some techniques that I use across like random stuff. Well, not random stuff, I use it across everything. Like everything uses music that I do, like everything uses voiceover that I tend to do as well. So hopefully that's helpful. And yeah, if you've got any questions, just give me a shout. It's not the only way to do it, but it works for me.